world around us is changing at unprecedented rates, and it's kind of hard to know what tomorrow's even going to bring. At this point, everything's up in the air, and you can't really predict anything. But there's been one thing that's been happening more in my life that it's kind of opened my eyes to some stuff, and it's made me really think deeply about the world that we live in, my life and life in general, and that is deja vu, synchronicities. And let me know down in the comments below if you've been experiencing this, but for some reason here lately, I would say just the last couple years, I've been experiencing a lot more of this stuff. And at this point, I'm convinced that nothing is random. And I don't know if I would go so far as to say that everything is fated, everything has an outcome and it's fixed and there's no way to change it. I do think that free will plays a role, and I think that opportunity and the choices that you make are going to determine the outcome, but I think there are certain things in life that are kind of fixed, and I believe those things are opportunities. I mean, think about this for your own life, for example. Think about all the opportunities you've been presented with and what that has meant for your life. Do you think that all these things are just random chance? Do you think that you're in the position you're in today because things just happen to fall into place that way? Or were there specific opportunities that were placed in front of you that maybe you passed on or you capitalized on that put you in that position? And of those opportunities, do you think that they were meant to happen? And this whole thing's kind of got me spiraling. It's got me diving down rabbit holes trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And through doing that, I've discovered a few people. Carl Jung is one of the people I've discovered, and he's talked about synchronicities a lot. And basically what he says is that there are certain things that happen in life that aren't chance. They're not coincidence. They are essentially seemingly random events that occur throughout your life, but they end up being connected somehow. So I'll give you an example of this. Year before last, in 2023, I was traveling all over Europe, just seeing the sights, seeing the countryside, doing a little shopping here and there. And I was in a town. I don't even remember what the town was, but I was many hours away from my hotel. And I stopped in this little town just by chance, a very random thing, had not planned on going there, and there was a little honey shop there. And I went in the honey shop, and they had all kinds of different honeys in there, and there was different kind of herbs and stuff in the honeys. I found one I liked, so I grabbed it and I checked out. Now, the girl running the cash register, she has one of those faces that you kind of remember. It sticks with you. So we had a little banter back and forth, or just a normal conversation, about 5 minutes long or so, and then I left that shop, and I continued on about my day. Now the next day, because I was doing a lot of hopping around. I was going from town to town, village to village, just stopping at places that interested me, places that I wanted to explore. And I didn't plan any of this out. Again, I was just kind of doing this randomly. But I stopped in another town that was 2.5 hours away. And I was walking through this stone corridor in a totally random spot of this random town that I just happened to stop in. And guess who was approaching me? The girl I bought honey from the day before. It freaked me out. I'm like, I'm 2.5 hours away from this place. It is a completely random town, not even a tourist attraction, just a random town. And the same girl I bought honey from the day before walks by me. And of course we stop and we talk for a second. She had somebody with her. I had somebody with me. It was like another normal interaction, but we remembered each other. And it was just a really strange thing. How in the world could that happen? There are millions of places that we could have been at that very second. Even in that town, there are thousands of different places we could have been in that town, and we just happened to pass each other at that exact moment. Two random people that had just met the day prior, 2.5 hours away, in a random town. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. And the way Carl Jung describes this is that these seemingly random events that end up being connected, it kind of tells you that you're on the right path. It's kind of the universe's way of saying that there is more to this world than what we can see. There are other things in the background that are bigger than us. And again, this might sound kind of far out there, and it might sound kind of woo-woo, but there's something to this. There is definitely something to this, because if you think about all the random events that have happened in your life, I can tell you that there are dozens of these types of situations that have happened in my life, and now especially with deja vu and more synchronicities that seem to be happening. And when it comes to deja vu, the craziest deja vu experience that I've ever encountered, I was sleeping and I was having a dream. And in that dream, I was having a party in an old barn that's on my property. And there was a song playing that everybody was dancing to. And that song is the old rock song, Fat Bottom Girls, if you've ever heard that song. Ooh, fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round. I'm sure you've heard it if you're from that generation, the generation I am. But that song was playing, everybody was dancing to it, having a good time, and I woke up in the middle of this dream, and for some reason when I woke up, I decided to turn the radio on immediately. As soon as I woke up, I rolled over, and I have a radio alarm clock that's beside my bed. I clicked it on, and that song started from the very, very beginning. The first note started as I clicked the radio on, and it was the song that was playing in my dream. Fat Bottom Girls, you make the rockin' world go round. That freaked me out so bad, and to this day I can't explain it. Again, two seemingly totally unrelated events somehow just connected themselves, and I would say this is almost a mixture between deja vu and synchronicities, because it kind of is. It's both things rolled up in one package, and there is no way that that's chance. There's no way that that's random. I would say that there are a trillion different outcomes that could have happened from that. I could turn the radio on, it could have been on a different station or any other song playing, but to turn the radio on at that exact second, for that song to be starting at that exact moment, is baffling. It is mind-boggling, and there is no way that that is coincidence. And if it is coincidence, maybe I need to start playing the lottery, because that's some luck that you just have to be born with, I guess, because it's baffling. It's mind-boggling. I really don't know any other way to describe it. And again, I've had these things happen so many times throughout my life, but they seem to be accelerating now. I seem to be having more and more of them. And the big point I want to get to in this discussion is the fact that I know a lot of people are kind of going their own way now. They're retreating from society because society right now is kind of in a bad place. A lot of us have kind of woken up to the fact that most of society is based on lies, and we don't want to participate in that. I'm one of those people. I have largely retreated from society, and that's not to say I don't go out in society and I don't socialize, but I spend a lot of time at home now. I'd rather be at home drowning out the noise and the peace and quiet than participating in all this nonsense that I know is just an illusion. But what I'm afraid of is that when we do that and we don't participate in society, we may actually be missing these opportunities, because I would say that these synchronicities, I don't think they're chance. I don't think they're random. I think they happen for a reason. And whether or not that reason is just for the universe to say, hey, guess what, I'm here, and there are other things working in the background, so don't be so worried about stuff, or whether it's an actual opportunity that you could seize and it could impact your life in a positive way, either one of those things is beneficial. So I feel like that if more of us continue to retreat from society and we don't get back to community, and we don't unite, and we don't talk and socialize person to person, face to face, and we're lacking that human to human physical interaction, I feel like we're going to be missing out on more and more of these things. And maybe that's exactly what they want. Maybe the people that are pushing these agendas to dishearten us and to put us in a perpetual state of despair, maybe this is exactly what they want. Maybe that is because they know that these synchronicities that happen and these opportunities that we're presented with in our daily lives, they actually provide us with opportunities that would allow us to better ourselves and to optimize our lives and to get ahead. And I think it goes without saying that it doesn't seem like that's something they want, because it seems like everything now in our modern society is geared to kind of keep us pinned down, to keep us trapped, to keep us in the system. Because when you're in the system, you're a taxpayer. You're filling your role in society that they deemed that you should fill. But as the synchronicities and as deja vu and all these weird coincidences would point out, there's a lot more to life than that. There's a lot more to life than just working your 9 to 5, being stuck in the rat race, and not finding your true potential, not going after your purpose and living a fulfilling, purposeful life. And I think what a lot of this comes down to is that we all have to have something to believe in. We have to have something to look forward to. We all have to be kind of striving for something. And if your spirit is being degraded because everything around you seems bad and you just retreat from society, then essentially you stop believing in things. You stop believing that there is something bigger in life. And then you don't go after your purpose. You don't try to better yourself. You just stay trapped into that role, again, that society has deemed that you should be stuck in. And that's where you stay. You stay in your comfort zone. And when we're comfortable, we're not growing. That's the big thing. We have to step outside of our comfort zone in order to progress, in order to optimize our lives and to find potential opportunities and things that can better us as a person and better our situations. And an argument could be made that maybe I'm reading too far into this and maybe it is just all chance. But at the bare minimum, you're still missing out on opportunity. You're still missing out on potential. Because when we're out in the real world and we're experiencing life, we are actually presented with a lot of opportunities. And those opportunities can seem very random. They can seem like chance, but what we do with those opportunities literally has the potential to change our lives. And that is 100% a fact. I can't tell you how many times I've been presented with opportunities in my life that seem totally random, and I acted on those opportunities and it completely changed the outcome of my life. It changed the direction of my life. And if you think about your own life and you think about the decisions you've made, those decisions have put you in the position that you're in. The most seemingly random, insignificant decision that you have made has impacted your life in some way. And if anything was done differently, if any of those decisions that you made were different, your life would not be the same as it is today. And that is 100% a fact. And this goes so deep that if you look back further, the same could be said about our parents and our grandparents and our ancestors in general, because if any of the decisions that they made were different, we may not even be sitting here. That is how profound these things can be, and that's why I think that we should probably be listening to what the universe and the world is trying to tell us. If you want to go real full-on woo-woo with this, read the signs and do our best to understand what they're actually trying to tell us. And I think what this all boils down to is just living your life in a way that presents you with opportunity. And that's going to mean something different for everybody. But I think if you pay attention to these things and you notice these synchronicities, whether it be deja vu or just random events that somehow end up being connected, pay attention to what the world, what the universe is trying to tell you. Pay very close attention to what you're doing when these things happen, what you're thinking, and what's going on in your life. Because these could all be signs that you're on the right path, or they could be pointing to something very specific. Maybe it does mean that things are shifting in our world way more often now, and it's trying to just remind us that don't be disheartened, don't stress about it, because everything is going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. Maybe that's all this means. But again, maybe we just need to read the signs and realize that there are some things working in the background that are kind of out of our control, and maybe we shouldn't stress about it. Maybe that's all we need to be reminded of, is just we shouldn't stress so much. Find peace, find silence, and be grateful for the things in life that you have and the things in life that you don't have, because there's a lot to be grateful for right now. Even though things are kind of tough and a lot of the things that a lot of people are dealing with kind of suck, there's still a lot to be grateful for. And maybe that is all we're being reminded of, is just to have gratitude for everything in life. But whatever the reason is, I think it's important to pay attention to these things. Don't dismiss them. Don't brush them off and think that it's just random coincidences, because if you do that, you are potentially missing out on opportunity. And it could be opportunity that could change your life.